as you rightly pointed out, this whole softwareization trend is also facilitating leapfrogging of the industry players in terms of the capabilities and features and whatnot. So, Samir, in terms of the skills required to handle that in the ecosystem, uh, uh, is it also leapfrogging at the same? It's also advancing in the same scale, and if not, how can that be achieved?
That's a very interesting question. So, I'm going to, for that, I'm going to look at the overall structural changes that may happen in the industry and then come to what reskilling, skilling, and what kind of changes we could be looking at. Because, as an probably tier two supply, technology supplier, we are also assessing our position in this change that is happening. So, for that, we looked at what softwareization really means, and we drew experiences from the other industries as well. In our case, we are selling to the OEM, and ultimately, it's been used by someone else. So we looked at different industries. One of the examples being the video content creation. That industry was first controlled by the broadcasters, who basically took money from the advertisers and sold the content to the viewers. Eventually, Netflix came and disrupted it because they took the money from the users directly, right? So the kind of content that they created for users was for users and not for the advertisers to help them sell their soaps. So they inherently created a very different user experience that Tarun was talking about, the customer experience. The second wave of change in the content creation business came from TikTok, where TikTok said, hey, you don't need to be a broadcaster and have $1 billion setup. You can have your phone and you can create a content, and I'm going to take that content over to billion people. So both the structural cost of creating content and distributing of it both were saved. So in this case, the mobile OEMs, if I can call them, created a very good ecosystem where OEMs won because they are taking the pie of the app revenue. They are, it's a very different business model. The structural change here is revenue model as well. The app maker, in this case, maybe someone like us who's a technology player, is winning because they are getting access to broader distribution without having to spend on distribution. And consumer is winning because consumer is getting different choices. So it's win-win-win situation. And in that sense, the very different value chain has been created, and Raghavendra talked about value being created, and the money flow changes. So the revenue structure change, and we look at that very closely, how we are going to be disrupted in this and where we need to take positions, Now, again, if there are 4 or 5 broad trends which are emerging out of this structural change, one is that we spend a lot on distribution, right? So maybe in the softwareized world and internetized world, and let's call it a digital world, the distribution expenses keep on going down. Okay, if you look at the general trend, and that has been spent more on creating better user experience. Why? Because users get multiple choices on this platform, and what wins here is not better distribution but better product. Okay, so our investments probably, if we take 3 to 5 or more years view, our investments slowly will start going towards creating better and better user experiences. Secondly, to create that, we need data, right? All the apps, I mean, you look at different apps, the data, consumer data flowing back to them is helping them create better user experience through AI. So that happens. Just 2 more changes. Now, if you look at all the success of softwareized work, it is the apps or the companies have got very high investment upfront, and then the revenue has come. And you look at OpenAI, they have $1 billion, over $1 billion of investment before one single penny was earned, 5 years, and their 2022 revenue was 28 million US dollars, 200 million, and this year a billion. So the way revenue is being generated is a very different way, and you know, that takes us to the next two very simple trends which will happen, is that all the stakeholders need to be aligned to this way of creation of value, right? And by stakeholders, I mean investors, the leaders, the employees. Lastly, the culture, organization structure, mindset, everything changes. Here, everyone has to understand the failure. For example, failure is an imminent possibility, you know, so the alignment needs to be there. So these are the kind of things that we
No, really, really. Thanks for sharing those perspectives. You know,